I got it working. And by working, I mean I clicked the movie button on my brand new camera. Anyway, so moving on to our actual topic today, and that is why you are not losing weight. So this is probably one of the most commonly asked questions that I've ever had as a trainer. One of the things that I get messages on social media saying that they've been training, that they've been eating well, and they're just still not losing weight or not dropping fat in the areas that they would like to. So please, please, please take into consideration the next few things I'm about to talk about before we jump to the conclusion that you have a thyroid problem, or that you're just bloated, or that maybe you don't have the genetics, or maybe you don't have the build to lose weight. Because a lot of the time, 90% of the time, it isn't anything more sinister than the fact that you're just not taking accountability or responsibility for the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis that aren't helping you get to your goal. Okay, number one, and I'm going to jump straight into this one. I've heard people say this time and time again, and I'm actually going to agree with you. Can training make you put on weight? Yes, it actually can, but not in the ways that you guys think. So what tends to happen when you start training is you have gone from being sedentary or someone who hasn't really done much energy expenditure to now training 3 to 4 times a week. We are now burning more calories, the body needs more food. You are now eating more food than probably ever before. So that is the first thing that you need to look at, is obviously diet. If you didn't change your diet at all and you kept training the way that you were training and you've just started introducing training into your lifestyle, then you're gonna drop weight. But if you're not dropping weight, we need to look at a few things. So the first thing I'm gonna always look at is your diet. You can be now eating more than ever before, purely for 2 reasons. One is because you're actually more hungry, the body needs more food, and you're taking that a little bit further than probably what you should. And number 2, you are actually now more fixated on food more than ever. Now that you are fixated on diet, now that you are aware of what you're putting in your mouth, because you're now subconsciously really trying to lose weight, you're actually now fixating on it more. So what I mean by that is, for example, me at the moment, I have to eat 6 times a day. So the amount of time that my brain is consumed around food is a whole lot more than in my off season. So in my off season, I will eat when I'm hungry. I don't really think about it much. I don't put too much thought into what I'm eating. And although that can be bad, a lot of the time you actually end up probably eating less calories than what you do when you're so fixated on it. So although you might not be eating 6 meals a day, I guarantee you, ever since you started training and you started this journey that you wanted to lose weight, you're now thinking about food more than ever. It also comes down to one of those things that now that you're restricted from certain foods, you want that more than ever. So now you're picking at certain things during the day. That is a big one, snacking. So you're picking at certain things because you're hungry, you're getting cravings, so you're trying to kind of beat around the bush and eat something different. What tends to happen is if you actually put everything on your plate, from what you're eating in the day, when you're dieting versus when you're not dieting, and when you're trying to make healthier options versus just eating what you want, sometimes it actually turns out you're eating a lot more calories than what you think. So my first thing is to write a food diary for 3 days, and actually I'm not talking about missing out little snacks that you have, because they all add up. You need to write down everything you put in your mouth. So even having, and I'm a absolute culprit for this, having nuts, you can get your calories up pretty high from having like 4 handfuls of nuts. That can equate to like 500 calories. So that is my first thing. Definitely get a food diary and do it for 3 days. Have a look at where you're going wrong. Add up those calories. You can go onto MyFitnessPal and you'll be able to add all of them and see how many calories you're actually consuming per day. So how to kind of overcome those snacking things, those snacking issues, is I don't allow myself to eat unless it's all on a plate. So what I mean by that is I'm not allowed to eat anything until it's my meal time. If that means that you have to eat 5 meals a day, that is fine, but I want you to see the food that you're putting in your mouth. The issue here is, say you've got a big bag of nuts, once again, and you're gonna take a few handfuls, you have no idea how much that you've had. If you put it out onto a plate, it's gonna be a little bit more confronting with how much you're about to consume. Get a food diary and write out every single thing you put in your mouth for the 3 days. Secondly, I want you to calculate all of those calories and really come to a true, honest daily calorie intake for yourself. All the good and all the bad. Don't try and change just because you're now writing a food diary. It's going to also make you a lot more conscious of what you're putting in your mouth. And 3, I want you to only eat when everything's out on a plate. So we're not snacking while we're walking, we're not eating while we're in the car. It's when you're sitting down and you can actually observe and become aware of what you're about to consume. It's going to be a whole lot more confronting that way, but it 100% works. It is sometimes what we actually need. Unfortunately, and this is not anybody's fault, a lot of the healthy options out there can sometimes equate to, if not be more, than just your stock standard option that sometimes is deemed unhealthy. For example, those protein bars that you guys get, or those protein balls, don't even get me started on them, they can be as high as calories as 300, 400 per bar or per ball. What they're putting in that, I don't know who kind of expressed to the industry that peanut butter and honey and all of that was healthy. It's great, it tastes freaking amazing, I love it, and yeah, it's probably better than a few other options, but if you put all of that together in a big bowl and mix it up and put protein in it and put unnecessary shit in it, yeah, it's a protein ball, but it's now just as high calorie as a Mars bar. So that is one thing you guys need to really learn to actually educate yourself on, is what you're putting into your mouth. It's a protein ball or it's a protein bar just isn't going to cut it anymore, and it sucks. I wish that we could just trust the marketing of things. You have to look as well sometimes on the labels. This is really interesting. Sometimes there will be something like big writing saying low carb or low sugar, but it tastes amazing. So you just pick that up, right? Saying, oh, it's low carb, it must be good for me. I then actually have a look at the sugar intake, or the sodium, so that is your salt, or the fat and the saturated fat, and it is super high once again. You may as well go get a Mars bar. So sometimes just because things say low carb or low sugar, it generally can mean that they are pumping it full of something else to still kind of add up to tasting as good as what it would if it had the same amount of carbs, if that makes sense. Another one is when you go to the cafe and you get a and if you live in Sydney or Melbourne, you would definitely know that smashed avocado, smashed avo, whatever they call it, on toast and poached eggs. When this became a health craze, I don't know either. So avocados, another one, great in small doses. You should be having a whole avocado with your breakfast, and on top of 2 pieces of toast, and on top of poached eggs, and then you might get a smoothie, a protein smoothie on the side. You've literally just clocked up your calories, I'm not even joking, to 600 in your breakfast. All of these things, all of these salads, all of these power lunches, all of this crap can be good in small doses, but when you are having a whole avocado, it's probably not the best thing. When it comes to actual meals, what I would say is you need to break it down into kind of your fats, carbs, and protein. It's not really necessary in all your meals to have all three. This is something that I've been working with lately, and it's actually really worked for myself. So I think we also get fixated on being healthy, and being healthy means getting all your, good fats, which is your avocado and nut butters and things like that, and your protein and your carbohydrates, your good carbohydrates like your rice, your sweet potato. People kind of want to get it into every single meal. But once again, too much of anything is going to be blowing out your calories, and that's all that it's really about. So you want to be having a look at the next thing is that every meal, either try and pick 2 out of the 3. So pick that you either want to have your protein and carbs, or you want to have your protein and fats. And that way you can reduce your calories in each meal and save something of that for your next meal. Now what I mean by that is, I personally, the way I like to do my day is I will have, in brief terms, my protein and fats meals kind of towards the morning and later at night, and I like to have my carbohydrates around my training. Now that is just what makes sense. I have my carbohydrates pre-training so I get the energy for it, and then I have my carbs post-training to kind of help recover my muscles and give me a little bit more energy post. Now, if you can take that simple formula and just apply that to your day, that's it. That's as simple as it gets. The next one is simple. You are either in a calorie surplus for too long, or you're in a calorie deficit for too long. If you spend one day a week where you've eaten a little bit too far over your calories, that is not going to put you back too far. If you are under eating for 1 day per week, same goes. It's when you are doing it for an extended period of time that is when the weight kind of doesn't move. So actually being in a calorie deficit is just as detrimental as being in a calorie surplus. This is why we have to be so careful when we're competing. If you compete for too long and you continually in a calorie deficit, the body, like I keep bringing up, adapts very quickly. So my body will learn how to function, learn how to give me the brain power, learn how to give me the energy to get through my sessions on the amount of calories that I've given it. Get this in mind, your body does not know that that girl is on 1800 calories and I'm on 1000 calories per day. The body doesn't know that. So it just adapts and says, right, well, we are only getting fed 1,000 calories per day. We need to learn how to distribute this throughout the day to be able to give her energy. And we're also going to store anything that's not what she normally has because we don't know when we're going to be fed again. So that is literally how it happens. So if you are eating too less, you're actually not going to drop any weight. You're going to probably retain, and if not, rebound and go worse. Now, then that causes a whole nother bunch of issues, and that takes a whole lot more time to fix. Just gone to Coles and done all the shopping, and I've separated them into little food groups so that I can take you guys through how I do my macros. First up, I've got my greens. Now, I am 2 weeks out, so it is a lot stricter than usual. You guys can obviously be a lot more colourful with your vegetables and your salads, and so you should be. But for me, at the moment, I am just trying to keep as clean as possible, something that's really easy to digest. So I've got broccolini, asparagus, really lean, really good to go with all of your meats, and it acts as a diuretic too. So you pee a lot with that. We've got avocado is your healthy fats. Don't get carried away with that, guys. Having a whole avocado is probably not the best thing for you, but I like to work at this with quarters. I've got a lot more cucumbers than that, don't worry. I've got a garden salad. These things are amazing. You can get lots of different ones of these. I do take the dressing out and I'll just add my chicken or turkey mince or whatever kind of meat I'm having in that so that it's already portioned out. And then these babies were amazing. I actually found this over in America, something similar, and I will never turn back. So it's only broccoli and cauliflower, and obviously it's only got 1.2 grams of carbs. So you can imagine, obviously, putting that with one of your meals is going to feel like you're having rice. It's going to fill you up a whole lot more, except you're having like barely any of the carbs. So that's a great alternative to help you fill up and keep it low calorie and low carb. Is my meats. At the moment I am having turkey, super lean, chicken, also lean, and you've got your really healthy fats of salmon. I don't have salmon every single day. At the moment, having it probably every second day, and that will come out in my last week, and you stick to more of the really lean meat. I also have barramundi and egg whites. As for carbs, the exciting part, so I've got gluten-free oats. Now, the reason I've swapped to gluten-free is my stomach hasn't been sitting that great with your normal traditional rolled oats. So having them gluten-free is just gonna be a lot more easy for me to digest, and I really just don't wanna be putting my body under any more stress than I need to at the moment. I've got blueberries that aren't actually really in my diet. They're just there more as a snack option. They are quite low calorie, good fruit for you to have as well if you are craving something sweet. I have bananas every second day. Post-workout, it's a really fast-acting carb. So if you are going to have it, I would either have something like a banana or the rice cakes pre or post-workout. That's when they're kind of the most important for you. And then I've also got basmati rice. So I do make sure that I get them in these little containers that they're already portioned out. It's just much easier that way to put with your meats. And I'm having about 1 to 2 of these per day. And my favorite part, so this is the sweet area. This is how I stay on track. People always ask me, how do I eat clean? How do I resist temptations? Well, this is it. It's all about finding healthy alternatives and kind of changing your taste buds to be able to enjoy things that are sugar-free and that are just alternatives and just spices. So the first thing I've got is a protein bar. Now, there are a lot of protein bars out there that are not good for you. Sometimes you might be actually better off just having a Mars bar. This one is great for macros. I carry this around with me. I find it easy to digest. Unlike some protein bars, this has been a really great alternative for me. The next thing is jelly. So this has been a massive savior of mine. It's super low calorie, low carb, low sugar. It's got about 7 calories in the whole thing. And this makes a lot of jelly. So it takes about 4 hours to make and set. I'll do that during the day so I can have that after dinner if I'm really craving something. Now, I do get a mix of nuts. Everyone goes on about how nuts can be bad for you, and yes, they can if you're eating a whole bag. That's why I only get a certain amount when I go there. I don't go fill up the whole bag because I will eat it all. So I just fill up a small amount that will last me, you know, 2-3 days, and I can just grab them whenever I feel like I need it. And surprise, surprise, I actually do have chocolates in this one. I would much prefer to just kind of bite the bullet, have a few of them and move on, rather than crave for too long and eat something worse. The next thing is stevia or a liquid sweetener, so you can put this on anything. It's got no sugar in it, but it does taste like sugar. You can put it in your coffees, you can put it on your food to add some sweetness. Sugar-free drinking chocolate. I found this one today. Actually, I haven't used it yet, but as for macro-wise, it seems pretty good. It's got, you know, 0.01 grams of sugar. I have had these in the past, and it really does help at night with those cravings. And then spicing wise, so this is Snickerdoodle. This is amazing for spicing anything that I want to have sweet. I actually put this on my egg whites. As for my meats and things like that, I'll either use the almond and cashew bliss or this spicy fajita one. So this is a great alternative instead of those Mexican ones that you guys get. They generally are really high in salt, and these are made sure that they're not. And then lastly, I use almond butter, not peanut butter. I find once again, I can't really deal with the dairy in the peanut butter. Almond butter just a lot more easier for me to digest, and the body prefers it much more. So that's how I kind of get by on my day-to-day basis. So I'm just cooking the turkey mince now. So what I do with this is I put in coconut oil first. I put a fair bit in. I'm not cutting oil at the moment. These are good fats. You can use this one or the spray. I then make sure I put pepper on it. I love pepper. I also add chili, but I don't have it today. So I'm just using the same seasoning that we were talking about just before. And that will be it. So the turkey mince is cooked. What I need to do now is I have my EHP Labs. I have my EHP Labs scale. I'm going to weigh out 100 grams. So you can see that's about 50, halfway there. I'm throwing it all over the floor. And that's 107, that's good enough. I'm not too anal about it. And then from there, I've already weighed out my other things. I'm gonna literally put that onto my plate. And that's it. That's literally it. Porsche, come here, we've got to wrap up the video. Porsche. Well, I didn't quite get Porsche. She's sleeping, but Kitty was available, so she's here to wrap up the video. I hope you enjoyed it today, guys. She definitely needs to watch this a few times, I can tell you that. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Hope you guys got something out of it. We'll see you later. Say bye, Kitty. Bye. You're not a good advocate for my brand.